Oh boy, I had a fun time with this one, you guys. My good friend Jenna just moved back to San Diego after giving it a go in good old Florida. And she gave me the quick details about what she thinks about it and some insight into her work life. But on top of that, she told me about a ridiculous date she went on. It's one of those classic, like, story creating dates, you guys. We've all had them, but let's hear about hers right now, shall we? So good. And with that, I hope you enjoy this conversation I had with my friend Jenna Lee Golden.
Thanks for the wine. Cheers.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're back from Florida. Tell the people why you're in Florida.
Like the real answer, or you want me to just
I mean, live your life. What's the real answer?
like, you know how sometimes when you're like going for a job interview and you try to sound really professional. If you talk to somebody you're like trying to impress, the way that you say it is very much like,
You're trying to impress nobody. We're just talking.
I know, but I'm just like, do I tell
It's just
them
you and me.
how I was pursuing my motherfucking dreams? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Ugh. Yeah. You know me. You know I love them manatees and stuff.
Exactly.
Do people really want to know about how I love manatees? I don't know, but I do. So,
well, what's important is that you left a place you were very comfortable in to go
so
someplace else less comfortable with more humidity to try to do something new.
Yeah, not just humidity. It's just that,
a lot of everything. We're going to get into all of that. I want to hear about that bad date too, but we'll get to it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
I can't even wait.
So you went out there. How was the job?
Okay. Well, the job was cool. So my role was I worked for a nonprofit organization, which is something I'd always wanted to do in my life because I have grown up caring about nothing other than animals and trying to make this planet that's sometimes a shithole, a little bit better for them. But manatees have always been like the number one focus. And I thought when I was a kid that that's what I was going to do like with the rest of my life. You know what I mean? I thought when I was older that my job, I was going to grow up and I was going to save the manatees, which everybody here in California is like, just them what? Like, we don't have those here. But it was just like a thing. I don't know. And I tried it once when I was 22. I went out there for an internship and it was cool. Like I did the thing. I like literally, that's what I did was I literally physically rescued manatees with Florida Fish and Wildlife. And it lasted about 6 months and totally broke my heart because I realized that like, oh man, this is just not something that I could do every day. It's blood and guts is what it is. 80% of what I did was pick up carcasses. That's the job of rescuing manatees, which is just like super gruesome. And to be totally honest, I love animals so much. I can't be in the business of watching them just be dead.
It's kind of like people that when you grow up and you want to be a veterinarian and then you realize what that entails. Yeah. Oh, never mind. I just want to look at them on Instagram.
You're like, just kidding. I just want to see their cute faces.
I just want to donate a lot of money and I just want to.
Yeah. I want to get super rich and just help them that way. Yeah, no. I mean, like I said, that was still the field that I pursued. But I mean, going there and actually doing that, I knew that was not the job for me. But after my internship in Florida, it just really made me realize that that's what I was good at. I was good at talking to people and I was good at educating people and inspiring people and getting them excited about what I was excited about. And what I never failed to be excited about is animals. So that's when I came back and I tried to refocus. So this time when I went to Florida, the focus was more on that side of things. So like I was brought out there to still continue the education work that I have built a background in and talk to people. And I went out there and kind of with an open role. Like I did not have a very super specific job description when I first got there, but pretty quickly into it, my boss, who's also one of my best friends, kind of like helped me figure out exactly where I would fall. And she knew that she really wanted me to do a lot of work with like making videos and stuff like that. So that's a lot of what I did is I made videos to promote different events we had going on or different holidays or, just to get people excited. And then I did a lot of education stuff too. And then I kind of stumbled in my own and I finally, through a friend's tip, actually found out about a website where you can Skype for free and it's free for the other party too with classrooms all around the world about whatever you want. So it's called Microsoft Education. And so I ended up talking to them and getting kind of the skinny on how that whole thing works. And I set up my nonprofit on their website as having a like lesson, so people actually connect with me on Skype all over the world to learn about manatees. So it's like classrooms or individuals or whoever in the world wants to, but there's like over 1 million people that use this platform now, which is super cool, and it's totally free on both ends. You could go on there to get a lesson in math, you could go on there to learn about whatever, but you just connect with all these professionals in whatever their field is. So I signed myself up for to be like an expert in the field, and they take a lesson from me. And that was kind of the program that I took hold of and started, and I was really proud of. So I'm actually still doing that. I'm like, when I moved back, that I still do that remotely from here.
That's what's amazing with technology is it's like you don't have to be in Florida to have to do that.
Totally. I mean, there's like less manatees here. You know?
Sure, but I mean, if you're just if you're just educating people about them and everything like that, you don't need.
Still makes me
it's
feel
not
like
like you walk a manatee into the classroom. You
Which
ain't
is
walking a manatee.
Dude, it's funny you say that too, because my my lesson's called Manatees in the Classroom. And there was like one day that it occurred to me that was like super misleading, because I'm like, I bet you they think there's going to be like a manatee in the classroom.
Yeah, disappointment.
Shit.
Tell me about Florida. What are your perceptions? I have not been to Florida since I was a kid. And when I've only been to Florida during a hurricane.
Yeah.
And I think I was like 10 years old. And I remember being on my dad's shoulders. Why were we outside? I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
But I'm on his shoulders.
Were you a storm chaser and you just didn't know it?
They were there for like a convention because my parents had like their own business.
Like a
whatever.
storm convention.
And that day it was. So I'm on his shoulders, and then like the wind was blowing so hard that it blew my tiny arms back. And blew my jacket right off.
Oh my God.
And I lost my jacket. That's my memory of Florida. Well, no other memories than that.
I'll tell you what, without your jacket, you still weren't cold. And I don't know what I know that you weren't.
So tell me about it.
It's like, okay, if you're ever going to write a Yelp review on Florida, like, you don't want me writing it. You know what I mean? Like, if there's ever going to be like, hey, listen, I'm going to Florida for this, what should I do? I'd be like, buy a ticket home. Like, it's just...
Cancel that plan immediately is what I would suggest.
No, I mean, like, it's such a cool experience to go other places. The problem is I am just learned at this point in my life that this is the place to be. You know what I mean? Like, Florida is not, it's not the bee's knees. And there's so many people that love it, and there's so many people that are they call them snowbirds. You know, they come from up north, and then when it gets really cold, they come down to Florida in the winter time because it's warmer.
For them, yeah.
Snowbirds, you've never heard of that?
No.
Oh, that's a damn term. My mom lives in Palm Springs, a Palm Desert area, and they do the same thing there. So like people come from Canada, and when it gets really cold, then they come down to the desert, to warmer places. And it's people who spend like half the year somewhere and half the year the other. It's definitely beautiful. You know what I will say about Florida though is one thing here in California that we don't have as much access to as they do in Florida is just like casual nature, I guess, is the only thing I can come up with to call it. Like, you walk outside, there's fucking lizards and birds of prey and there's all these animals around you all the time. I mean, there's like literally a lot of wildlife. It's more accessible there. That probably has to do with the climate, but it also, my own personal theory, has to do with like the cost of living too. So like here in California,
way pricier here.
Oh, so pricier. But like when we live here, to get anywhere near the water, you have to be a damn motherfucking millionaire, right? But in Florida, there's so many people that live so close to the water, and it's like totally affordable. And my theory on that is that people there just kind of like take it for granted because it's not like the Sistine Chapel like it is here. Like, to get that close to the water here, it's so expensive. And by the time like I'm going to stereotype here for a second, but by the time like somebody has enough money to do that and live there, they're probably the type of like suit type that their life is all about their job, and they probably don't even appreciate the nature that's around them, anyway. But in Florida, it's all there all the time. So I definitely will miss that part, the fact that there's just, it's so accessible there. There's all these like nature parks. I mean, they're part of the park system, like national park system is much more. You remember when we went camping?
Yes,
yeah.
I do.
Do I ever?
Cheez-Its. I remember eating a lot of Cheez-Its.
You remember eating a lot of Cheez-Its.
That's what I did.
With the bag, inside the bag, the way that Courtney eats Cheez-Its.
I am a germophobic eater, yes.
Yes, we all know that. But so like we had to drive like an
Mhm.
hour and a half to kind of have that same accessibility to nature where we kind of wanted to like get lost, I guess, and like just like have fun and drink and then listen to Cirque du Soleil soundtracks while
Yeah.
we got in trouble for noise
But you still get a
complaints.
noise complaint before 10.
Yeah, you know, whatever. But like that is all around here, but we have to like travel. In Florida, there was a park that you could camp at. Literally, I used to go on runs to it. It was like 10 minutes from where I lived running. So it was just like boop right across the freeway. So it's like there all the time, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's the pro of it.
Yeah. There's the cons are it's just different, and it's for some people, it's not for other people. It wasn't a place that I could see myself long term. It was such a wonderful experience and I enjoyed it so much, but it's just
Well, just because you don't want to stay there forever doesn't mean it's not a valid experience.
right. And you know what? Everything in life is an experience and everything is good for you and kind of like makes you who you are. And you know my dear friend Coco, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. She taught me something when I was there and I was kind of like having a hard time settle in and like fit in and make friends and stuff like that. And she was like, just remember, whatever happens, it really doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it's just like all part of your story. And I was like,
It's so true,
kumbaya,
though.
what?
It's so true, though.
Gandhi, tell me more. And she was like, no, honestly, it's part of your adventure. It's going to be, if nothing else, it's going to be that time in your life where you're like, oh yeah, I lived in Florida. Like again, but you know, I lived in Florida and I was like, yeah, girl, what up? So I'm trying, you know, like put a positive spin on it. Yes. But at the same time, just wasn't the place for me, man. They're just weirdos.
Yeah. Tell me about your dating experiences out there because we talked while you were out there.
Oh, I tried, man. I freaking tried.
We talked and you were like, I just went on the worst date or the worst dates. I don't know. You said something that was like
Yeah.
the pinnacle of awful.
Well, you know, this isn't not due to my friend Michelle that's sitting to my left right here.
Yeah, Michelle's here. Y'all know her.
Yeah, y'all know her in the house. Michelle Harmon. What up? She's drinking vodka again.
She's ready.
Like she do.
ready.
Eyes clankety clank. No, Michelle is an avid Bumble user, and many times over the recent past, we have chatted and with other friends of mine too about like Bumble, and I just you know I'm so against it. It's just not for me. It's just like it's just so not how I want to meet people, and I've always been so anti. But I had a bunch of friends who are like, just try it.
Well, you're also in a new environment, so you need a way to meet people.
Right. Well, okay. Well, here's the thing. True confession. I actually did try Bumble once. It lasted about 1/2 hour. If anybody out there is documenting, just write that down. It was
Someone is.
1/2 hour. Because that dude that I was hooking up with at the time, the guy who lived below me, remember my neighbor? Within 1/2 hour of being on Bumble, because I was like trying to move on, I match with fucking, come on, his name's Matt. Matched with him on Bumble, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I hate this. So I immediately deleted it because I was on it for 30 minutes. And at first, when I saw the first person I know, I'm like, that's funny. And then it was like somebody I worked with, I'm like, that's funny too. And then I see somebody else that I know, I'm like,
I
that's
always
funny.
see people I know on there.
I know, it drives me bonkers. That's not how you want to date. Like, let's be honest, if you already know him, there's a reason you haven't dated him. You know what I mean? And if you're already hooking up with him, there's probably a reason you're on Bumble. Like, it's not going well. So anyway, I had tried Bumble before. I had really put the kibosh on it. But then when I moved and I was like, whole new place, whole new me, eat, pray, love, let's do this. I was like, I am gonna try. No, you know what? I wasn't even like, I was gonna try. My friends were like, just try it. You're in a new place. You don't know anybody. You won't see people you know. Like, just give it a go. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay. So I signed up for Bumble. And you know, to be honest with you, it became a thing. Oh my God, here's the best part. So the town I lived in was called Port Orange. Not a huge place. Okay. Very small vibe. It's right next to Daytona Beach, which is like human trash city. Just fucking people there are such bizarre excuses for functioning citizens in this country that has red, white, and blue colors. But it's just, oh God, like one word is gross. Like Daytona Beach it's gross. It's gross. I could just say that. Like, I'm young and I'm single and I tried my damn hardest to experience it. And my like takeaway message for somebody who's like, I don't know, not that classy, I was like, ew, gross.
So what made it gross?
Everything. Like people, okay, here's I'm gonna stereotype for like a second, which is like rude and you shouldn't do this, but like
at least
honestly,
you're prefacing it.
I'm trying. Yeah. No, I'm trying to tell you that I'm not just intentionally being rude about it. But the stereotype there is like, okay, most people are not from Florida. Like that's a saying there. People aren't from Florida. They just end up moving there. So what I've noticed, what that means, like the stereotype that means is like people don't really take like ownership over it or pride over it or have like much just camaraderie with each other there, because most of them aren't from there. Exception, fucking Daytona. In Daytona, everybody's from Daytona, and nobody's moved. You know that like town that you hear about where like people like grow up and they never like move away.
Right.
You can say San Diego if you want to, but let's be honest, this place is huge, and that could mean one of 10 million things. It's totally different.
Yeah.
But there in Daytona, people don't leave, and they live this lifestyle where they like, okay, shit, like, okay, people have a job. But when I say a job, I don't mean like a career. I mean like they have a job. They show up to their job every day. That's some like mediocre bullshit job. I worked one. I'm not going to like exempt myself from this. I had a second job. I worked for a nonprofit organization. I needed to make money too. So I worked at a brewery. And like most of my coworkers were nice people, but like a lot of the people that work around there in Daytona, they're totally fine showing up to their average everyday life jobs and just never doing anything with themselves. Like that's it for them. All they want to do is make enough money and drink slyly enough at work to get off and go to the beach or go fishing. Everybody's just like, I'm trying to go fishing. On the weekends, what do? You go fishing. It's like, oh, we got some beers, get the kegs, we're going fishing. Let me tell you, I don't eat seafood. So like I ain't got no interest in fishing. It's just not it's not the tits, but people there live and die and breathe fishing, drinking and fishing. Do you know how many BUIs, aka boating under the influence situations take place there every week? Okay, well, I will tell you, because as one of my responsibilities for my organization's job, I used to read what's called the FWC law enforcement reports, which, in case you're wondering out there, what the fuck is that? I'll tell you. So Florida Fish and Wildlife, the people that like govern the fishing laws and like the oceans and the waters and keeping everybody safe, they have patrol units, like officers that work for them. Every week they submit their reports that they had for that week. And let me just tell you, I comb these reports. Thank you. I comb these reports personally, looking for anything manatee related. If people are violating manatee speeding zones, or if there was an assist with a rescue of a manatee, like that's what I'm looking for. But in reality, I comb through these reports that take me like anywhere from an hour to 2 hours every week to look through all of these. And 90% of them is somebody who's breaking the fishing laws. You have to take a fish that's at like with this many inches up to this many inches of this different species and whatever. Like people are real serious about that. That's 90% of it. The rest of it is all just boating under the influences. Like, here in San Diego, everybody's like, oh shit, she got a DUI. In Florida, they're like, oh fuck, he got a BUI. Like they're just always getting in trouble for drinking and boating. And it's because they don't take it seriously, because when they drive a car, okay, when we're here and we get drunk, we know better than to drive a car. And when we get a DUI, we're like, shit, I should have known better. You know that it's dangerous to drive a car. When they are boating and drinking, it's like just like there is no rules. There is no whatever. It's like sneezing for them. Like it's just part of life. There's no rules or regulations when it comes to operating a giant piece of machinery going 80 on a plane of water across. No, they have no regard. It's so insane. But people there are just trashy. They're just so fucking trashy. And they just, oh my God. Okay. They spend their money on like, it's not like they're rich folk or anything, know, but you don't need that much money in Florida to own property. It's not the same as here. So they could have a house on the water for $400,000.
Oh, wow.
There. It's like crazy.
That's a huge difference.
I mean, it depends on where you live, but of course, and it depends on how nice your house is, but and there are houses that are up to like, I remember there were some areas where like houses go for $800,000 and everybody's like, oh, they're so expensive. And I'm like, you can't even live near the water for that where we're from. Like, it's just crazy, right? But it's just not as expensive. So they spend their money on the weirdest shit. Like I worked with this girl who I absolutely love. I loved her, but she would show up every day so fucking tan it almost hurt to look at her. And her nails were so every day she'd come in, there was like new like glitter fades or like new color combos, or she'd have that like accent nail in the middle that had like a watermelon on it. Like you choose, right? And then you'd be like, oh, what'd you do today? And she'd be like, oh, well, I went and got my cross shined, because she has this diamond cross necklace that her mom bought her, which like there's nothing wrong with that. That's like really sweet. But you're like, and then and she and then you'd ask her, oh yeah, how was that? And she's like, great. I'm like, what else did you do? And she's like, well, I went and visited Tyler. And when she says that, when she means Tyler, her boyfriend's in jail, and part of her everyday normal life is she would like go visit her boyfriend in jail. Like that was normal.
Yeah,
like,
I watch prison shows.
Yeah.
I do. Like, I watch prison shows. That's
But it's not because she's not like a low class person. Like there's no. I mean, honestly, It was a set of extenuating circumstances. Her boyfriend got into he was involved in a DUI, which was his fault. And when he got in the accident, he like seriously hurt somebody else. So he was in prison. But like, you're just like, you just want so much more for these people. Like this girl, I adored. I absolutely loved her, but she was so young, and I would just be like, oh my God.
Well, like, you're dealing with people where that's all they know.
That's all they know.
That's all they know, and they don't even maybe think to branch out to find out what else is out there.
Yeah, and you're just like, I want so much more for you. Yeah. And I don't know, like that seems like it seems arrogant. Like it sounds condescending to say, and I don't, but like I tried to get in there and be part of it and assimilate myself, and and there was no having it, because I'm just like, I can't do this.
Well, it depends on, it's like if they're happy in that small kind of environment and that's all they really want, then that's cool, I guess. But the problem is that is not what's going to make you happy.
Yeah. And like, to be totally honest, spot on, good for you, on the nose. And that's kind of what bothered me the most. That's why I knew I would never want to live there. It's like that so many people were just totally happy. They were totally happy living the lives that they lived, and they didn't need to have any, that's all there was, and that's all they needed. And that's wonderful for them. But no. It's important to kind of be like, it's this concept of like being around your tribe, like the right tribe. Yes.
It's the people that kind of think somehow in the kind of same patterns that you do, that, if you're a person that wants a little bit more out of life, that you're around those types of people. You know what I mean? Like, you have the same kind of priorities.
Yes.
That's important to, I think, our own like self-satisfaction daily.
And also, it's
if you weren't around those people, then that's going to be difficult for you to live there,
because you feel like there's nowhere left to grow or do. But if you're around the people that, like you say, like you have a chance to continue the forward motion, feel like you're accomplishing things, right? Wait, hold on. We got really sidetracked about the date, because I didn't even get to tell you about that. It's all right.
We'll get back to it.
Okay.
Yeah. Continue your thought now. I'll drag you back.
No, that was my thought now, is like how bad that what I was about to describe to you encapsulated that. Okay,
perfect.
So my entire experience on Bumble, I chatted with I was very picky, right? Like on Bumble, like, when you swipe, because I was like, what the fuck? All these people seemed like aliens to me. So I was very particular. And I'll be honest with you, my success rate in like matching with somebody where like I swiped right on them and they swiped right on me was actually pretty high. Like most people that I took the time to like swipe right on, they had also swiped right on me. But I read so many profiles where they were like, oh, don't bother swiping right if you're not going to message me. And I'm like, bitch, I'm just getting used to this. Like,
I don't like it where they give me immediate parameters.
Oh my God.
Like, if you're this or you're that, don't bother talking. It's like, can you just talk about yourself? Do you know what I mean? Like, don't tell me everything I don't need to be or who you don't want to talk to. Just tell me about yourself and let it happen naturally. Because I immediately think they're controlling. I'm making a judgment. Maybe it's not accurate. I don't know. But I immediately think you're
dude, it's not even control. It's arrogance. That's the problem. Yeah. It's like, again, just like what we talked about, people feel the need to fit into this box, and they're only comfortable in that box. The good thing you told me about that box, because I don't want in that box. Exactly. But no, I remember one dude, I was like reading this and I just got such a giggle out of it. Cause I'm a vegetarian, right? Which is like, oh, okay. I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't lose any sleep over it, for all you guys
Nobody
wondering.
picks on vegetarians. It's vegans I think they make fun of.
You'd be surprised. But anyway, there was this one guy, just like classic fucking Florida. Like people have Confederate motherfucking flags on their lawn and in their garage in Florida. Like I used to go on a run and there was like this really nice kooky old guy that would wave to you all the time. And the people I lived with, my friends would tell me like, oh, that's so-and-so. He's such a nice guy. He gives us peppers when he grows them. And one day I'm like running by, he's got his garage open and the biggest fucking Confederate flag you've ever seen in your life hanging down. And he's proud as hell. And I'm just like, whoa.
Trust me, dude. Remember, I was in Kentucky for 3 months. I know.
Oh, God. It's just like, woof. But anyway, so there's this one guy on Bumble that I remember in his thing, it was like, I was reading it and it was all pretty good. It was like, you know, I'm into this, and this. I really appreciate this, and all the things. I'm like, yeah. And then at the very end, I just had myself a good laugh because it was like, and by the way, if you're a vegetarian, sorry, it just isn't going to work. And I'm like, at what point in your years of living on this planet did whatever somebody else choose to put in their mouth gravely affect you to the point where you're like, can't do it? Like, what? That's just such, what a bizarre, that'd be like, okay, just so you know, if your left pinky toe is longer than your right, it's just not going to work. How the fuck does that affect your daily life? Like what I ate for lunch, hey, Courtney, what'd you eat for lunch today? Oh, wait, I don't care. Like, why would that change anything?
It's very strange. Okay, here's the problem, I think, with our dating culture right now. Okay, and especially with
she about to drop some heat. Everybody listen
apps.
up.
You see, about to drop that knowledge though. So the problem is that they're trying to match you with people you're exactly the same with. They're kind of training you that like, here's only the people that like the things you like.
Which is not.
They like the exact same things that you like. They eat what you eat. They like the movies you like. They like the music you like, and you're the same. And that is what creates chemistry. I don't agree with that.
No.
I don't think that that's what creates chemistry between people. And that's the problem with a lot of these algorithms that we have now in these dating apps. It wants you to match with people that are exactly the same.
You have to have enough in common with somebody, and you have to have some sort of shared interest. But oftentimes there's you know, like obviously there's the whole opposites attracts thing, and you're talking about a dichotomy here. You're talking about two separate ends of the spectrum. You're either into somebody because you're so similar to them, right? And you guys are into all the same shit and you guys are so similar, or in the opposite end, you're really interested in somebody because they are the yin to your yang, right? Like they're so different than you. But in reality, I have a feeling that 90%, oh damn, for the clutch show.
Is so Michelle's pouring me a glass of wine right now like she's a fancy server.
Oh my God.
Shout
and you
out
know
to
what?
Michelle.
She killed it.
She
damn killed
Michelle.
it.
I got a nice dress on.
Holla back, youngin'. Ooh. That was a fabulous reference, just in case y'all out there didn't get it. But anyway, so what I was saying is like those are the two ends of the spectrum, right? But I guarantee you, thank you so much, sweetheart, more than 70% of real relationships that exist today are probably somewhere in the middle. It's not about having everything similar. It's not about having everything.
But you know what I think? I think there's certain fundamental things you might want to have in common. But then
religion.
There's like these, certain things like that where it's really ingrained in like how you're going to live your life. And there's something, it's a foundational item. And there's other little things on top of it where it's like, this doesn't affect how we really get along.
Like, I like Bob's Burgers. I like, what's the other one that he's
I mean, when I was on Match.com at one point, it was like, you guys are perfect for each other. You both like dogs. You both live in San Diego. You both
Who likes
there.
dogs?
You guys are a perfect match. And I was like, so just because we have a dog and we both are from San Diego, now we're ideal for each other? It's not true. So
unless there's one caveat to this, unless it was Christian mingle.
I've never been on that one.
Well, according to that website, all you need is, you know, you only need to match in that one category. Everything else is just marbles.
Just the Christianity?
No, God. Which is dog spelled backwards for all you listeners out there.
If you were curious. Oh, Jesus.
Or what's it? Single Jews, or what is that other website? Jews for Jesus. No. Okay. Oh my God. In case any of you didn't hear that out there, she just said Jews for Jesus, which is a new campaign starting where all of a sudden
I'm legitimately trying to figure out the name of that site.
It's something
one for Jewish people.
No. God
what's
damn
wrong with
it.
us?
I don't know. Well, anyway, the funny part is I was making a joke. I have many Jewish friends who I sometimes I wish I was Jewish. It feels like it'd be so much easier. But like, that's all you need. When you're Jewish, that's all you need. You Jewish? Great. Cool. You Jewish? Great. Like, that's the check off the box. We're golden. We're good to go. You see what I did there? We're golden.
J-date.
J.
Is that it? Is that it, or did I make that up?
That sounds like a thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I think I know a friend from
I thought you
college.
said Israel, but you said it's real. Sorry, I got Jews on the mind.
I feel like I have a friend from college that found his wife from there.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It happens.
I have a super good friend named Adam, and I just like adore him to the moon and back. He's honestly one of the greatest people I've ever known. And he's told me many times, with no joking in his voice, like, if you were Jewish and you wanted to have kids, we would be together at this point. And I'm like, I know.
I would have made this happen.
I freaking know. But it's so funny. Like he tells me all of his dating stories. And the other day we talked on the phone, and he told me how he went on a first date. And I was like, was she Jewish? And he was like, I don't know. I'm going to find out tonight. And the next day he was like, she's kind of Jewish. And I'm like,
Isn't it frustrating that that's the one barrier, though?
For me, absolutely. But I
this
just
would have been perfect,
Yeah.
except you're not Jewish. Like, that's kind of a bummer, I guess.
I don't think it was necessarily that situation in that particular case, but like unfortunately, there are just so many people that live their life that way. Like that is how it goes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. That's interesting.
Wait, back to my Florida date though.
Please.
Okay. So on Bumble, I matched with plenty of people, messaged half a dozen maybe, and took the time to actually conversate with like a few. There were, what bothers me too is like, you signed up for a motherfucking app where the girl has to message you first. If she messaged you, fucking say something back, you ass wipe. If you swiped right on her, I don't give a shit if on second thought you're like, shit, I meant to swipe left. Say something. Be like, hey, sorry, I know I'm on this thing, but like I started seeing somebody. I don't give a shit, but like say something, you twat. Anyway, there were definitely a few guys that like just never messaged me back. And I'm like, oh, cute. You seem like you were raised right, you fucking barnyard animal. But there were, a couple other people that I actually like conversated with. The very first, okay, I will tell you, the very first conversation I ever had with anybody on Bumble, this is like literally how it went. He was a little bit older than I wanted him to be. He was at the very last year of my age range that you choose, right? I think so.
Which is always like a little bit older than you really want.
Exactly. And so then when those people actually match with you, you're like, oh God, gross. No. But which is so not fair because you're like, I put it right there, but it's fucking ridiculous, right? Okay, so that was before I turned 29. So I was 28. So I made a 10-year age range. And I did put 27 because I figured that there would be some people that were my same year but just weren't my age yet. So like for just safety's sake, my net. And I like them younger guys. Just kidding. You're all twats if you're listening to this. But so I put it to 27 to 37, right? So 37 was my high mark. So this guy that matched with me, he was 37. I'm like, that's a little older than I'd like it, which is funny. But anyway, so I started talking to him, and within half a day, he got my number, right? And he was a really nice guy. Turns out he has a Boston Terrier too, named CJ. And I was like, he sent me. Oh, my
Figs could have a friend.
Figgy and CJ. Oh man, they would have been a better couple than me and this guy. Let me even tell you. So anyway, within half a day, this guy asked for my number. I ended up giving my number because like so far, not sketchy. First conversation I've had on Bumble, but he seems to be like a super nice guy and it's going pretty well. And then next day, I think we're still talking, we're still messaging, and I find out that he lives 3 hours away.
That's quite far.
Okay, but like also, what? I know that my mileage parameter is not set to 3 hours away. How did I get myself in this predicament? I'm in a state where I've never lived before. I don't know anybody. I'm not willing to travel for a first date. That is sketchy as hell. He tells me, he's like, oh man, I got to stop bumbling when I travel for work. It really gets me in trouble.
Yes.
And I'm like, also
People
don't say sentences like that. You sound like a fucking douche. Anyway, there's like this one sentence where, what does he say? He goes, all right, so should I just lay out all the baggage right now or what? Which, by the way, ladies, if anybody ever says anything, even in the realm of that, run. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. This guy just drops this fucking bomb, and he's like, so which by the way, I'm sorry, but I feel strongly about this. If you have a child, you should find some way to integrate that into your Bumble profile.
No, you should throw a photo. You should tell people right off the bat.
You should tell people right off the bat. Yeah. And it's like,
don't wait, because let's not waste time.
I don't give a shit if you're like, I just want people to know me. No. But what you don't understand is some people on the other end have hard rules against that. The same way you need somebody to be Christian, I need somebody to not have kids. Thank you. Like, it's that important to me. Okay. I don't want to have kids. I certainly don't want to fucking take care of your kids. Hello. Talk to you later. Bye. So this guy drops this bomb with me. He's got an ex-wife of 10 years.
Ooh,
They just got divorced. He has a 2-year-old son who he loves more than life itself.
of course.
And I'm just like, I like literally was like, okay, thank you. Like this is,
Thank you.
and he was so weird about it. Like I tried so hard to be respectful and be like, sounds like we're at 2 different really places in life. Like that's excellent. I really appreciate that. If we're being totally honest with you, that's not something I'm trying to get involved in. And he got so defensive and tried to like me. And I was like, oh, please, honey.
I
Like,
don't understand that because you don't even know this person yet. It's not like you have an established relationship.
not even
where
like I
you
didn't
should
know
have
you.
to make an excuse.
You didn't disclose to me that you have a child. You can't throw me a curveball and expect me to be like, oh, wow, that's wonderful. When can I meet him and be his new mommy? Are you serious? Like, get real. So anyway, that was the first human I talked to on Bumble. But let's talk about the first date. So in a series of mishaps and whatever, I finally ended up talking to a human being where I was like, I'm going to meet this person in person, right? Like I was like, this is, oh my God. Also, you know what his name was? Rhymes with cat.
Matt.
Yeah, his name is Matt. I should have known right then and there. He was a fucking
He's done with
douchebag.
all Matts.
No, all of them. Y'all suck. And if your name is Tam, which I just said Matt spelled backwards, which your name is probably not Tam, unless you're Vietnamese, in which case
Jesus.
I've already dated an Asian. I'm probably not doing that again. Anyway, so Matt, I matched with this guy. We talk for a couple days, and you know what? He hits me real like. He's like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, that seems approachable. So we chit chat, and pretty quickly he's like, I'd love to meet you sometime. I thought at first, I was like, oh, that's like a little too quick. Like maybe he's just trying to hook up. You know, if he's trying to meet me that quick, I mean, it's a little weird. But he ended up messaging me the next day because I told him I was away and whatever. And he's like, cool. Well, hey, listen, like I work in this area. Next time you're around, like hit me up. We should meet up. And I'm like, oh, that seems non-rapey and pretty normal. I could go for that. So I tell him, actually, I'm going to be in your area fucking Monday or like whatever. If you wanted, grab a drink after work or something. And he says, that should work. Sounds great. And I'm like, wow, normal guy. That's great. Oh, also, side note, totally my type. Totally my type. Like I looked at his profile, straight up surfer status as fuck. Like tall, blonde, kind of like dead in the eyes. Like looks like he's lived 1,000 lives, but honestly still looks like he's like cool as fuck and just really casual. And I'm like, oh my God, you have Jenna written all over you. Why? Because he's the yin to my yang. So anyway, so he tells me like we're gonna meet up, like whatever, and I'm like, cool, sounds great. Oh my God. Okay, day of. Let's take us to day of. Day of, it's like 2:30 in the afternoon. I hit him up and I go, hey, just so you know, I'm getting off work at about this time. I don't know many places in this area because I don't live here. I just work here. You tell me where to meet you. This is his response. Cool, yeah, sounds like a plan. How about we just meet in my brother's garage? It's pretty cool. Looks like a bar. Okay, well,
close enough.
I instantly don't want to go on this date because I'm not looking to get hard tonight. Like, are you kidding me? Who is like, meet me in my brother's garage?
Is that Florida? Is that normal?
Because
it's not normal here.
If it was, I didn't know about it. So like,
I would personally have been uncomfortable with that.
I was so uncomfortable.
I don't want to meet anybody in a garage.
No. And so here, let me even tell you, Jenna doesn't beat around the bush. This was my exact response. Ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't seem like the type that rapes or murders, but to be totally honest, I don't know you. Can we pick a public place?
That's just honesty is what that is.
That's what it was. And he says, haha, LOL, fair enough. Yeah, meet me here. And he gives me a place. I'm like, all right, date back on. Less sketchy. Let's do this. So I get off work, but I get off work like an hour before he says he's going to meet me, but my office closed. So I had to go to a Starbucks down the street. And I was like trying to buy my time. And I'm like, shit, all right. Like, I'll get a coffee, get a little fucking jonesed up. By the way, I have my dog. I have Figgy with me because A,
Protection.
she's always a good buffer. B, this guy had already disclosed to me in conversation that he used to have a Boston Terrier, but he lost the Boston Terrier in a breakup. And he misses that dog so much. It's the best dog he ever had.
Yep.
And that he would love to meet Figgy sometime. Well, I love to take Figgy with me to the office. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. So I have Figgy with me. We're at a Starbucks. We're chilling. I get a phone call from him. I don't know what time it is. Like, call it 6. And he's like, hey, I know we're supposed to meet right now, but I'm still really stuck in traffic. I'm really sorry. I don't know if I'm still worth meeting to you, but I could be there in like a half an hour if you still want to wait around. And I'm like, you know what? Thanks for instead of texting me, actually picking up the phone and calling. That was really nice. That's fine. So I wait around the extra half hour, but I tell him on the phone, I'm like very honest. I'm like, hey, listen, that's totally fine. No big deal. Take your time. Also, just so you know, I'm probably going to go to the bar and start without you. And he's like,
just so you know.
Just so you know. And he's like, yeah, it's a really cool place. Like, have at it. Have fun. I'm like, cool. So I go to this place. I order myself a drink. I'm sitting outside. Finally, a car pulls up. And in the car, looks just like him, right? There's like a human body that was like the stature and whatever. And I'm like, oh, cool. He's here. I'm like, oh, wait, just kidding. That must not be him. There's like a human being next to him in the car. That's weird. All right. Well, I guess I'm still waiting. Whatever. This car parks. 2 people get out of it. Sure enough, one of the people getting out of it is absolutely this guy, Matt, that I'm about to meet. Why is he walking into this bar for our first date with another human being? That seems weird.
It's not natural.
No, that's not natural. This guy walks up the steps. Just so you know, the first person to introduce themselves to me, not the guy I was going out on the date with, his older brother.
Oh.
His older brother walks up to me and meets me. I don't even fucking remember his name at this point. I don't know. Let's call him Joe. Oh my God, I think it was Joe. I don't know. It was something like that. And I was like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Joe. And I go, nice to meet you too. And he's like, I'm Matt's older brother.
He has like, pardon me, why are you even present?
I'm like, right, so that explains it? Okay, cool. And then this guy, Matt, walks up to me. Again, seriously good looking, right? Really tall, kind of like still dirty from work, which you know I'm into. And I'm like, yeah, baby. So he sits down, and before he even says anything to me or acknowledges me, goes straight for Figgy. And he's like, oh my God, I love your dog so much. It's so amazing, blah, blah, blah. Now, this guy, in my opinion, upon reflection of this experience, there are 3 critical mistakes that he made, which caused this evening to go south. Number 1, he brought his brother on our first date.
That's a flag.
That's a weird thing.
It's a red flag, if you will.
That happened. I mean, last time I thought we met on a dating app, not like a casual let's be friends. This wasn't Bumble BFF. This was the regular version where people are trying to date.
To actually date.
Like, the fuck, right?
Yeah.
Number 2, beelined it for my dog before ever even talking to me. And within the first 3 minutes, I would say, of conversating, brings up the fact that he lost his dog and a breakup and blah, blah. And he's pretty sure he's still in love with his ex-girlfriend.
Oh, that makes me feel so special. In a date.
First 3 minutes.
When they're talking about their ex. Yes.
Yeah. So he brought her up the first time in about 3 minutes. Just so you know, like forward thinking, the course of the entire date, he brought her up another 3 times.
Ugh.
4 times total, talking about his ex-girlfriend and how he's still not over it. So that's fun.
Yeah.
So that was number 2, in which case I'm already in my brain. I'm like, check, please. But like, I don't really know how to get out of there. And I'm like an hour away from home and I'm like not familiar with the area. So I'm just chilling. Like, okay, this is interesting. And then his brother, Joe, if that's his real name, goes to stand up and get them drinks. So like, he's not even getting his own drinks. His older brother is buying them drinks. And he looks at me and goes, Jenna, can I get you something? Same thing you had before? Okay, great. So just so you know, I paid for 1 drink myself when I first got there. The only other drink that was purchased for me on this date, which not like they have to purchase a drink for me or anything, but it wasn't purchased by him. It was purchased by his older brother.
Did he ever mention why the older brother was there?
Nope.
Was that ever addressed?
Nope. Mm-mm.
That's unusual to me.
This is
really unusual.
This is only going to get better for you, Courtney.
I'm very excited.
So the third critical mistake that he made, we're sitting there and I told myself at this point, I'm like, I'm going to have this 1 drink and then I'm going to fucking bounce. Right? I'm going to bounce. Mind you, that day, I feel it important to note at this point, it was like one of the most hungover situations I have ever been in my entire life. I was so hungover, I thought I was going to die. Well, I had 2 beers. They were both like 8% beers. They were IPAs. By the time I had the second one that his brother purchased for me, it kind of hit me like a hurricane and I felt drunk again. But it was only because I was like so hungover, you know? And I was like, shit, I need to wait this out. I can't drive yet. So here I'm thinking like, okay, I'll stay for like 45 minutes, you know, and fucking wait this out so I can have a good laugh about it later and then I'll leave. Well, we're hanging out, we're sitting there, and at one point, his phone kept going off. It kept ringing, kept ringing, kept ringing. At one point, I finally looked at him, and I was like, man, you seem to be popular tonight. He goes, yeah, a few different phone calls. I mean, one of them was my ex-girlfriend. I chose to ignore that for you. Oh, my God.
Please.
Are you going to say that at our wedding, too? Like, are you
Thanks
serious?
so much.
You, what a fucking sweetheart.
You're a gem.
So one of the phone calls, he actually answers. And he's on the phone for a couple minutes. He's like, all right, cool. Sounds good. Bye. Hangs up the phone. Doesn't say anything about his phone call, just continues in conversation. And then a couple minutes later, this fucker, he, without any like warning, without any like conversation, nothing, stands up, walks away from the table. Doesn't say anything to any of us. Not to his brother, not to me, just walks away. And I'm like, well, I guess he's leaving. And his brother's like, nah, it's fine. Okay. And I see him, we're on the back deck of a bar, so we're right next to the parking lot. I see him walk down the stairs of the parking lot. I see another car pull into the parking lot, gravel parking lot, like stop right in front of the bar. He gets in the front seat and just sits there. For a second, I thought they were going to take off. Like I thought they were just leaving. I'm like, oh, okay, no, he's actually leaving right now. No, he's just sitting there for like a few minutes. And so eventually I look at his brother and I go, do you know what he's doing out there? And his brother goes, no. Cool. All right. As I just sit there and drink my drink, being like, holy shit, get me the fuck out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, the guy gets out of the car, stands up, walks back, looks at us, and goes, all right. So now that you know I'm not going to rape or murder you, can we go back to my brother's garage now?
Ugh, that's a gross sentence.
Yeah, no, it was super gross. The grossest...
That sentence offends me, and I wasn't there.
No, yeah, it was terrible. The grossest part is that I actually went. Not because I wanted to, but at this point in my brain, I was still thinking like, I don't know anybody around here. I don't know where I am.
You just got to see this through.
I mean, honestly, half me was in it at this point for the story. But in real life, I was like, I can't drive back an hour on the freeway right now. Like I need to wait this out a little bit longer. And it was only
thanks for the story.
10
you
minutes.
Gotta justify yourself to me.
Fine, let's go with that. So anyway, so he's like, it's literally right down the street. And it really was. It was like around the block. I follow him in the car to his brother's garage. I'm sitting there. Holy shit. On the way getting out of the car, I asked him, I'm like, so you going to tell me what that was all about back there? Or are you just going to let me guess? And he was like, oh, yeah, no. I'm like, what? And he's like, honestly, like, I don't know you that well. I don't really want you to judge me. And I'm like, okay, well, just to be clear, you showed up to a date and disappeared into another car, came back and pretended like nothing happened. So like, if we're just really talking about it, I'll take the explanation. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I mean, it's no big deal. It's just like a weekend thing. And I'm like, what is?
What does that mean?
And he was like, so I bought a little blow.
Oh, Jesus.
So just to get this straight, motherfucker had to leave me in the middle of our first date, to which he brought his brother on, talked about his ex-girlfriend 4 times, and left in the middle of it to purchase blow out of a fucking sedan in the middle of the parking lot and come back and act like nothing happened. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy is class. Are you freaking kidding me? So we get back to his brother's house. At this point, it's very clear he's already done a bump or two in the car because he's acting totally different. And his brother gets out.
Really fast?
He's just like, he's just sweaty. He's just weird and sweaty, you know? What?
Michelle's dying because I have a story that would coincide with this. Go ahead.
Oh, you have a blow story too?
Not me, but a date.
And again, like, I'm not here to judge. I don't care what you do, but like maybe time and place, like maybe a first date isn't the best place for cocaine. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I'm agreeing with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
That's what we're laughing
You
about.
can do you, boo. Like if you want to party hard because it's your 30th or so, I don't give a shit. But like on a first date when you just met somebody and they don't even have the chance to have like an impression of you, maybe a little more tact.
Yeah.
So anyway, the brother Joe, after we get out of the car, looks at me and goes, hey, my girlfriend is probably passed out inside on the couch. She gets really drunk.
Great. That's great.
Cute. Okay. Yeah. So sure as shit enough, we're in the garage. Not Matt, not the guy I'm on a date with, but Joe was like, hey, can I get you a drink? Can I get you anything? I'm like, oh, am I dating you now? Like, what the fuck is happening? So he makes me a drink, which I pretend to drink. I know at this point I'm not drinking anymore because I'm trying to drive home.
That's how you know it's bad, when you're pretending to drink.
Yep. Matt, at this point, has picked up a guitar that he found in the corner and has completely secluded himself to his corner of the room, singing himself songs, playing guitar on blow and completely ignoring me as if I didn't exist. The only person talking to me is his brother Joe, until this fucking queen walks out of the living room. It's the girlfriend. Her name's Jess. And when I say walk, that was a little lenient. I would say she stumbled. She couldn't even walk a fucking straight line from the steps out to the garage. She was such a mess. She's stumbling all over the place. So we're sitting there and Joe decides that he wants to order food, right? And he wants to go get food. So he takes off and leaves me, Jess, and Matt there. At this point, I'm so mentally checked out, I can't even. And for the fourth time, last and fourth time, Matt dives into the story about his ex-girlfriend and about how they broke up and how he's just like, this is what he actually said to me. This is like, and I quote, "Can you even imagine what it must be like to be dating the love of your life who you thought you were going to marry and have kids with? And she just tells you that she doesn't want to do this anymore and you have to move out and she gets the dog and she gets the place and everything. And you're just here like, what happened?"
So he's not over it?
So long story short, holy shit. So at this point, I have literally, without exaggerating, I am like rolling my eyes. I'm not even pretending to Peter myself at this point. I'm just like, oh my
No,
God.
because this is officially a story. This is officially just life experiences.
This
now.
is not a first date.
No, this is not reality anymore. This is just like what's happening psychologically in this moment.
It's also my first book and my big break.
Yes.
I'm sitting there thinking that, right?
Yes.
So the girl Jess, who by the way has not said anything in like probably 9 minutes, like she's so drunk, she's like just like sitting there swaying back and forth, like not saying any words. The only time she talks is as Matt's telling me the story again, and I'm literally like, oh my God, are you serious? Making these terrible faces. This girl Jess looks over at me and she goes, "Matt, she's not even into it. She doesn't even like you. So stop. She doesn't even like you." And I look at her with the fucking devil eyes. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Are you of all people, you're really gonna call me out right now? And she looks at me and I look at Matt and I'm like, I just smile because I'm like, shit's getting good. So I'm like smiling, and Matt looks over at Jess and he's like, "Jess, stop being weird. Like, that's so awkward. Like, we just met online. It's no big deal. We're just friends." And in my brain, I look at him like, are you fucking kidding me? Really? Did we meet on a friend app? Did I miss that part? We're here to be friends? Are you serious? We met on a motherfucking dating app. And you are sitting there high as a kite on blow, ignoring me, mad that some girl called you out about me not liking you because the look on my face is like, how do I get out of here? Where's the eject seat? Please help me. Dear God, send help. Like, what? So anyway, it was at that moment in time where I'm like, I have got to go. So I'm the guy, the brother, Joe. Joe gets back with all the food and he looks at me. He's like, "You want any?" I'm like, "Not even a little." And I look at Matt and I go, "Hey, I'm going to take off." And he looks at me. He's like, "All right, cool." So I pick up my purse. I like go to walk to the car and he's like, "Let me walk you to the car." Like all of a sudden he's like this very chivalrous man that I just met.
Get out of here.
Oh my God.
Get out of here.
Walks me to the car, holds my door open as I'm getting in the car and looks at me and goes, "Listen, this was great. I had a really good time. Can we do this again?"
Like this was like better than I thought it was going to be.
Literally, can we do this again?
Mm-hmm.
And I look at him and I go, "Oh, sure, hit me up." And I get in the car, right?
Well, that's how all dates end. We always go, "Hey, oh my God, it was so great. Like, let's do this again for sure." All right, yeah. But it doesn't mean it's actually going to happen again. Yeah.
He shuts the door. I drive away. I have myself a good hard laugh for about 2 minutes when I realize that's my life and this actually just happened. In which case I call like 4 people I know immediately to tell them the story because that was my big break.
If you're calling somebody to tell a story, you know it's good though.
Oh,
that's how you know it's good though. That means it was worth it. It's all about life experiences.
So I start driving home.
Share it.
And about 20 minutes into my hour-long drive home, I get a text message from Matt. And it says, "Hey, just wanted to say you're a really beautiful girl, and I really enjoyed our time together today. I think you're really awesome and smart, and I'd love to do this again sometime."
You're like, is your brother going to be there?
Is this Joe or Matt? And then
Joe typing this for you.
I get another text message about 10 seconds later, and he goes, I kind of got the feeling you weren't that into it, which is totally fine. We should at least be friends. But honestly, I still stand by what I said. You're great. And to which point I'm like dying laughing. I'm also not going to text him back. I'm driving 80 miles an hour on the freeway, and I have to travel home an hour, right? So I don't get home until, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes later. Oh man, it's hilarious.
My dog is snoring really loudly.
The
in the back.
dog
You probably
is
can't hear it,
snoring
but
so
that's what
loud.
we're laughing
It's
at.
so aggressive. So I get home like 40 minutes later. I have not responded to this text message because I'm driving at a high speed on the highway. But when I finally do get home, I check my phone. There's another text message from him again that says, and I quote, all right, cool. I see how it is. You don't even want to respond. But honestly, I'm still going to stick by what I said. You seemed like a really awesome person, and it was really wonderful to meet you. Wish we could have been friends.
So he's totally there, and then he fully checked out in an hour.
Like, clearly he took 14 more bumps of blow when I left.
Yeah, you never know.
I text him back at this point only out of spite, right? Because I'm like, I'm not letting this fucker get away with thinking that I was ignoring him. So I go, actually, I was driving and didn't have a chance to text. Just got home now. Thank you, though. And although it was really fun to hang out with you, and then I go on and I send about the longest text message I've ever sent in my entire life. And again, the purpose of this is not to have like my day in court or like not to feel like special as a woman. Like the reason that I said this is because I knew the next day when he was going to wake up and not be on blow anymore and just think like, oh, that just didn't work out. No. Let me tell you exactly what happened. And I go through the fucking laundry list and I was like, honestly, when I first met you, you seem like a great guy. You're really attractive and you're totally my type. Here's the problem. ... You brought your brother on our first date. You brought up your ex-girlfriend, not one, not two, but 4 times over the course of the evening. And you purchased blow in the middle of our date in our parking lot and tried to lie about it. You seem like a really cool guy, but clearly you're going through something. It doesn't seem like you're ready to date anybody, let alone be out in the social world. So I appreciate your text messages, but I don't really think this is like a positive situation. That motherfucker still had the fucking courage to text me back like moments later and be like, wow, thank you so much for the honesty. I really appreciate that. You really are great. And I'm like, fuck me. I fall asleep, like whatever. But just to wrap this story up, the end of this whole Bumble experience and date, like a week later, the guy sent me like a very detailed like apology text message apologizing for acting like a douche and clearly stating that he was not ready at this point to be dating and he's sorry that he put me through that. I had a good hard laugh, but
yeah,
that's what I get. That's what I get.
Those men too. So you love Bumble, I think, is what we're getting at.
So that was the end of my Bumble experience. That was the last time I ever like talked to a person on it because I was just like, no.
That's hilarious.
I just got a text message from my friend Patrick. He's walking my dog and sent me a text message saying she's being difficult. Which perfectly describes many things.
Your dog's being difficult. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So dating's the actual worst.
What are we going to do? Guys? Since Michelle's here too.
Yeah. How do we fix this?
What are we going to do? Exactly.
I feel like
Jenna are staring at Michelle like she's got the answers.
I feel like if any of us had the answer to this question at this point, life would be a little less weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in official struggle zones, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, she said I'm about to give up and not try anymore.
Michelle, scooch over. Get over here. We're about to make this a trio podcast. Everybody
Michelle
prepare
Harmon
yourself.
in the house.
Y'all know her.
Y'all know her. I'm about to give up and not try again.
Yeah. I'm about to not give up and not try again. Because it's just like, what are you doing, everyone? Come on. Just be a decent person.
Yeah.
It's just difficult. I mean.
Yeah.
Like, be clean and shower and text back.
You run into non-showerers?
That's not. But like, that's my point. Just like, don't be in a cult. Have hygiene and text back. That's all it takes to be successful.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'd really like, at this point, I'd like to meet somebody in person. Just like naturally through the motions of life.
But where, Courtney? Where would that be?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
At a bar?
No. No, at a bar is so awkward. I don't know. I feel like when we go to a bar, like guys will look, but it's very rare for them to do much approaching in that circumstance.
I'll be honest with you, if I'm being real though, that
Uh-huh.
happens to me less than it happens to you, because I'm going to tell you, like you are the guy. You're not the guy. You're the girl. You're the
Thanks.
girl. You're the girl that guys totally approach in a bar. Totally, absolutely.
I don't experience that.
Okay. I am that person that you don't walk up to because I'm like insanely good looking or anything like that. Like I'm that person who gets you with the personality. That's why you cannot meet me on Bumble. It's not like nobody's looking at my pictures being like, yeah, you know what I mean? But like the pictures that you post and shit like that, like you're a beautiful girl and absolutely you get attention at bars. But my experience at bars is like, ugh. Like, you know what I mean? Like I need to meet you in a different setting and you need to like have a chance to like have witty banter with me back and forth and shit like that.
Yeah. Do you know what the weird thing is though? Is if I feel like somebody's only attracted to me for my visual, it's like an immediate turnoff for me.
Of course.
If that's where you're stopping at, if that's like what your main thing was, then I'm kind of like I check out kind of quick.
In all fairness, that does have to come first though. It has to
Visual?
come first. Yes.
Well, we've talked about this too with our friend Mark, right? I always talk about this with Mark, and he's like, "I just love mentality. I love mentality and just connection that way." And I'm like, "I completely agree. I need that. Absolutely." I was like, "But I need to be physically attracted. Otherwise, that person is like my new best friend. I have to have some physical attraction." You know, he's acting like it plays no part, and I'm like, it plays some freaking part.
Mark's such a weirdo. I bet you he means that though. You know what I mean?
I know he's a classic. I would love to get him on here. He's an interesting man, but
Such a weirdo. I love it.
but I'm like, you have to have some aspect of attraction. Otherwise, we're just really good friends forever.
Which you have enough of. I'm sorry, but
I got plenty of dude friends. Okay.
No, I'm just saying that's like how everything goes for you. You always go into it being like, is this? No, we friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. Jenna, thank you.
No. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. We're gonna go do something. We're gonna go do something.
Actually, we are gonna go do something. I do have plans for us, which
You have plans for us?
Yeah, I
Oh.
forgot to mention it
Oh boy.
earlier. Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be interesting. Thank you, Jenna. Thanks for coming through.
Thanks, Court. Michelle, say bye.
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 And to continue that story, we did go out, and after one stop for Mexican food and somehow 3 Uber rides, both those ladies slept on my couch safe and sound. Thanks for listening, you guys. Make sure to add me on the socials at Courtney Diamond and check out my site for my blog posts at CourtneyDiamond.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please feel free to subscribe and maybe leave a nice rating or comment. I would really appreciate it. And with that, I'm out of here. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you guys soon.